Today we are dropping our POV from Double Forte about AI, ChatGPT, and all the others. So many other apps that are generative AI technologies that create words or videos or presentations or images, prompts, the whole thing. And obviously, it's been such a whirlwind, such an explosion of conversation around ChatGPT. I'll just use ChatGPT as an alias for AI in the last 6 months, and incredible growth for that one app from OpenAI, over 100 million users just in 6 months. It's amazing. And for those of us who've been in technology for a long time, it feels very familiar in terms of the frenzy around this technology, the frenzy around the transformative nature of what ChatGPT AI, generative AI, can do, is doing, and can't do, right? And bottom line, ChatGPT, OpenAI, AI is here to stay. And the question is not so much, will AI replace jobs? The question is more, how can we use AI to make our jobs better, to create better results, to create more productivity, to create more breakthrough, whatever it is, right? And I firmly believe that those companies, and I'll just talk about PR firms now, agencies in general, marketing, advertising, whatever, those firms that don't learn to use it to get more efficient, to drive hours out of your day, to get better ideas, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, will be left behind. And the models will not be able to sustain themselves. And it reminds me very much of when Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, all of them came online in the early 2000s. And all of us had people who were like, I don't want to learn PR. I don't want to learn Twitter. I don't want to do an upside down press release. I don't want to, internet doesn't matter. We need to do it the old way. And literally there were people, hundreds and hundreds of people, just in my little universe, that basically had to lose their jobs because they were unwilling to learn and acknowledge that communication had changed. The way that as a community, as a society, we communicate had changed. And if we as PR, public relations, strategic communicators for companies to people, people to people, governments to people, whatever it is, couldn't harness these different technologies, we were out of work. But they were unwilling to do it, and they became obsolete very quickly because you could not take them to a meeting. Couldn't take them to a meeting. If you can't take a senior person to a meeting, they're no longer relevant. If they're no longer relevant, you can't keep them in your agency. And I think the same principle holds for AI, but for different reasons. That it is here. It's not generating, it's generating some amazing things with help, with editing and all that kind of stuff, and, touch-ups and all this kind of stuff. But it's also generating a lot of fear. It's generating a lot of fear for jobs, a lot of fear for accuracy and facts, a lot of fear for deception and propaganda. But we won't be able to, that genie has left the bottle and is not going back in. So the question is not, does AI replace us? The question is, how do we harness it to make our work better, right? To make our work break through, to make our work more productive, more efficient, to use our brains on the things that our brains are required to do, and to use artificial intelligence to automate those things that, if you understand them, you can automate, but you don't need to add 2 + 2 over and over and over and over and over again, right? It's really not a choice. And those agencies that don't, and those communicators that don't learn how to use it, will be left in the dust by those who do. And soon, if you don't have an answer to what are you doing with ChatGPT, you won't be able to go to a meeting. And if you can't go to a meeting, you are irrelevant. And if you're irrelevant, there's the door. So we're here again. We've been here many, many times in the last 20 years, but here we are again, at trying to understand something that is so fast moving, so fundamentally changing the world, that we can't understand it all, but we need to learn how to use it, ride the wave, and then adopt it, not to be set in our ways. And here's the piece, right? We can't just use it and then stick it. We got to use it and try something new and try something new and keep learning and learning and learning and learning. And if you've heard nothing from me in the last 10 years, it is that we have to be lifelong learners. And if we're not lifelong learners, we limit our options, we limit our earning potential, and we lose our relevance. So being a lifelong learner is a advantage, or learner, being curious, right? It's an advantage always. And it's definitely an advantage now. So what to do about ChatGPT in the communications world, right? So if you're in an agency, the Public Relations Council has published its code of guidelines on generative AI. Really well done, very thorough. And they touch on, really, really important things. So if you're using generative AI with your company confidential information or your client confidential, you got to stop. You got to stop, because it goes into the ether and other people can draw on it. So either turn it off, like in ChatGPT 4, you can turn off the sharing, or don't use it. And never use the name of companies that you represent or your own company, etc. Because it will violate every single confidentiality clause you have in your contracts, which means you probably should update your contracts, but that's another thing, right? So, but no business plans. You can create business plans, but don't put business plans in, right? You're not going to learn from a business plan of your clients or in your own business and not have it be out there for other people to use in their generation. That is bad. Two is if we don't, so that's one thing you just can't do, right? You can't violate the confidentiality we have our clients. You shouldn't compromise your own company with your own proprietary information, etc., because it becomes part of the whole. Also, when you use ChatGPT, the first three things you see before you even put in the your prompt is may occasionally generate incorrect information, may occasionally produce harmful instructions. It says that limited knowledge of the world before 2021. I'm sorry, after 2021. So it's telling you that it's not correct. It's telling you that it's prone to mistakes. It's telling you this, right? So it is great to get an idea to start, but you have to make sure that you're leaving space to be critical thinkers about what it has generated, so that you can use it like you would use any other source to create your own thought. So that's a lot of thoughts, right? Another thought is another dot, more than a thought. It's a dot. We are in the place for the next 20 years where we're not going to have enough people. Empirically, we're not going to have enough people. We're in the forever, and I'm going to try to find it here. We're in the forever job hunt. We're never forever labor shortage. The forever labor shortage is the next 20 years. The demographics of the world, and we'll just focus right now on the United States, we're better off than most countries. The demographics of the United States are that we are getting into a pipe and an inversion, and that we need to get back to the pyramid where there are more people generating work than there are taking from the work. And that's not going to be for another 20 years. So we are always going to be in a people scarce situation. Now, does that mean those people are in the right place? Maybe not. Does it mean that They have the right skills? Maybe not. But can people learn? Yes. And does where people live actually matter? Not if you don't use your hands, right? So we need to learn to use this ChatGPT and other AI to our advantage. We have to learn to do it in order to do the work that is going to evolve. Of course, if you're on the ChatGPT AI side of TikTok, A, you're very busy, and B, you're just trying to keep up. You're just trying to drink from the fire hose of the thousands and thousands of apps, it seems, that are coming out every week. You can't live without this app. You can't live without that app. You can't live without this, kind of stuff. And it is moving too fast. It is moving too fast for anyone to fully grasp what's going on. So a few things. One is we have to learn how to use it. Two is it's too early. It's too early to land on one suite of tech, one stack of capability. If it's presentations or video or podcast scripts or the written word or audio or music or what I said, video or images, did the Pope really have a puffer jacket? And no, the Pope did not. So it's too early to lock in on a tech stack. More than 80% of those companies are going to go out of business before a year from today, right? 80% of them are going to go out of business a year from today. Of course, those businesses are much smaller than a traditional, what you would have thought of as a startup in terms of what they're generating per person, but they're not going to be around. So you got to try. You got to leave room to try new things and see how you might apply it and learn from each other. That's for sure. And then what are those things? How can you use it responsibly so it doesn't compromise your work, doesn't compromise your confidentiality, doesn't compromise the quality and your point of view, doesn't compromise all these things, and doesn't contribute with confidential information to a competitive set. So one, you got to monitor. You got to leave room in your week to monitor. Two, you got to leave in your room in your week. And this is where, spread the wealth, divide and conquer, where people can need to try things out, do A/B testing against two different things. Is it BARD? Is it ChatGPT? Is it, there's so many I'm not even going to try to talk about them all. What are the processes you can streamline? How can you stack the Zapier does a great job of adding, this plus that to do the generative stack of tasks. Are there other things you can do with ChatGPT, if this, then that? You can see that in Monday as well. How are you going to do all these things so that you can get more automation, streamline processes? Every job has too many processes. Every job has too much administrative work. No client wants to pay for it. So you're going to have to use it to do that. So what are those things? And don't lock in, but try. And even if you have to dedicate, extra time from everybody on your staff, take it out of billable time, put it in exploratory time in order to see what's going to happen. You have to do that. You need to have an opinion about how to use it. Your clients are not going to not want you to use it in a certain ways soon. So you got to figure that out pretty quickly. You got to embrace it, because even if you're scared of it, you got to embrace it, because it's not going away. We're proceeding with caution, right? We're trying everything. We're protecting ourselves. We're protecting our clients. We're not using anything as final work product. We're using things for ideas. And then mostly we just laugh at it, frankly. In the voice of a straight talking, redheaded CEO with a sense of humor, who grew up on the East Coast, spent 25 years or 28 years in California, and now lives in the Midwest. Right? It is hysterical. But if you don't learn how to prompt, it's all about the prompts. You could buy prompts. There are no less than 500, I'm going to say, that's probably true worldwide, companies who are selling their prompts. Here's cut and paste prompts. Well, if it's a cut and paste prompt, don't you think everyone's going to get it? right? It's going to cut and paste. Just cut and paste this prompt. Everyone will get the same thing. And we absolutely must guard against the race to the bottom of mediocrity on this topic, because mediocrity doesn't get paid, even if you're first. So many people are going to be bug splat in this. Don't be bug splat. Be curious. Be exploratory. Figure out piece by piece what is useful for yourself, what's useful for your company, what will be useful for your clients in a way that protects them and keeps them ahead. The prompts are where it's at. Cutting, pasting prompts is not where it's at. And you have to move forward on this. In terms of a guideline, use your values. Use your values as your guardrails, right? To guide how you adopt things. Never, for instance, never pass off generative AI work as your own work. Never say it's final. Never say it's yours, because it's not. Double check it, because it could be wrong, like the lawyer found out. But we know it's here. We know we need to adapt to it. We know we need to understand how to use it. And we know that that understanding is going to have to evolve over time, because it will change faster, 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 faster. But if we don't use it, we're going to be left in the dust. And that is not a pleasant thought for anybody. So buckle up. Here we are again. It doesn't have to be scary if you have a thoughtful approach to how to incorporate, test, incorporate, and then relearn with generative AI. Let me know how it goes.